exhaust was so fucking loud. I thought it was a motorcycle, like a Harley.
Oh shit!
And it ended up being like a pack of four wheelers, and then the dude like drove down, said what's up to us, and turned around and just like drove all through the thorns on Chimney to get out. Like he didn't give a fuck. He was just like through all the thorns and like I don't know.
That's legit.
Then we tried to snowboard on Jitterbug, but Jitterbug there wasn't any snow. Cataloosa got 10 inches.
That's a lot for North Carolina.
And we got like 1 inch, 2 inches.
Ain't shit.
So yeah, I don't know. But I want to go drive up the Shire, the dirt road over there.
Yeah. All right, Will. I'm gonna press record and I'm gonna hit this intro. I got a little intro for you and stuff, and then we'll go into it.
Okay.
All right, here we go. All right.
What is
Welcome
that?
to 35 All Grip.
What the fuck was that? Was that me?
No, that's Simon Sneathen, high siding.
Oh
Actually.
my god.
Cast out the bag, now everyone knows.
Oh, you should get a song. You should make a song.
I should.
I want to get, the Jesus Cinco guy on Instagram. Do you know who? I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
with the land paddle thing.
Yeah, and the songs he did, on YouTube, were the one about Chase Hiller.
I
That
think
one's
I
the
heard
good
that.
one,
Yeah.
the Hiller Killer. But before that, there was the I want to be a downhill longboarder. You never heard that song?
Was that the one where it was like he had himself like
In space.
or something like photoshopped in?
Yeah. I want to contact him and be like, "Yo, can I use your song for the intro
Can I get the rights to your song, dude? I love it.
for my podcast?" Yes. I don't know.
All right. Well, for those who don't know, I'm here with Will Royce, downhill legend, some might say. And I got a little intro for y'all that don't know him. So here we go. All right.
Oh, wow.
Will's a pillar to the downhill community. He's got a skate everything style from downhill, street, transition, and even e-boards. He's been traveling the world for well over a decade, hitting events and skating roads most just dream of. Will's been a flagship team rider for Bustin longboards since Nam, owns his own wheel company, Kaneka, and holds a few skateboard records, which we'll get into. Since moving to North Carolina, Will's thrown numerous events, bringing the community together and keeping the downhill flame alive. Not only that, he's also been donating boxes of gear to stoke out communities in other countries. So yeah,
Nice.
Will Royce. I wanted to start off the first thing. I was checking out your YouTube channel, and it looked like you were skating in North Carolina in 2009.
Oh shit! Was it 2009?
Yeah, it was like 12 years ago or something.
Oh my god! I always think back to that, and I always like in my head it's 2012, but I guess it was 2009.
Yeah,
That's
or maybe it. Yeah,
That's just the first time I made a video. We went to North Carolina. Had to be in 2008, I guess. Before that,
what were you going? Was there an event, or were you just checking stuff out?
yeah. So there was an event called Rumpel Flat Spot. Do you know the name of that road?
I've heard of. Is this It's off. Is that off Shire or not Shire? Fucking bookstore.
Yeah, it's off Bookstore. It's the Runoff Bookstore, but this is a super old name. I don't think anyone calls it that.
I've never skated it.
It used to be like good pavement, but now it's trash. Anyway, there's an event called Rumpel Flat Spot. I was living in Tallahassee, in Florida, and I had some friends who had an Evo, and they knew the Miami longboard crew that skated all the garages in Miami.
Okay.
And the Miami crew knew about the event in North Carolina, and they were going up there. And I had been riding my friend's Evo with gloves and no helmet, and that was our style in Tallahassee. And they're like, "Let's go to I didn't have any idea like even mountains existed. I didn't know what that like mountain roads. But anyway, they're like, oh, let's go to this skateboard event, and went up there and ended up being hosted by Pat Shep. And dude, I cannot remember the other guy's name. What was his? Oh my god, I follow him on Instagram still. I'd have to go look. But Pat Shep and this other guy hosted the event.
Nice.
And we were there for most of the day. Oh, I remember we drove up there and we're on the Blue Ridge Parkway at the top right before like it goes down into bookstore. And we're like, all right, we got to skate this. Mm-hmm. And I remember I had bought like a leather jacket from Walmart. Or not Walmart, Goodwill. And so I had a leather jacket, no helmet, and some gloves. And we got on the Blue Ridge Parkway and skated from the Blue Ridge Parkway through all the tunnels. And like got to the bottom and there was immediately like a park ranger. Like we didn't even get more than one run on that. But the park ranger was like, "Where are you guys from?" We're like, "Florida." And he was like, "Oh, okay. I'm not gonna do anything. You guys have a good time."
If you get busted by the ranger, say you're from Florida.
Because we were just out of town people, like, "What are you doing here?" "Oh, I'm sorry." But then we ended up finding the Run bookstore and skating on that. And then randomly, luckily, because I don't think we like drove there with like no directions. Like this is before you had Google Maps or anything. So like we had maps printed out. Like I can't remember who had the actual directions, but we just had nothing. And like once we got to the parkway, we were lost. We found the road bookstore and we were like, "Oh, that's a cool run." Skated on that, and that was like the first road that I ever skated that was longer than like a minute.
Bookstore's long.
Yeah, skated, and like at the time it was like that was like peak, like maximum level that I could skate.
Oh yeah,
like I fell off the road multiple times on bookstore.
Were you on the Evo?
No, I was on. Somebody else had another, like lane yachts board. I can't remember what it was. Like just a regular drop through drop deck. Something, and they loaned it to me, and I took it up to the event. I can't remember what it was, but I remember falling off like 3 or 4 times just skating bookstore, which is like 30 miles an hour.
Did you have no helmet on?
No helmet.
No gloves?
No gloves with no helmet. Gloves, no helmet, and leather jacket.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, because like helmets weren't cool because I was like skating the whole my entire life, and like helmets were like big no.
Definitely not putting this on.
Definitely not putting that. But leather jacket, that's fine. But we skated out, and then at some part, like whatever bookstore runs into that road, Rumful Flat Spot, we saw some skaters. We're like, "Oh, this must be where the event is." So like, if we hadn't have seen them, we'd have probably just ended up skating bookstore for the rest of the day, and then just went camping and not found the event or anything. Because we didn't know any. Like there was I guess we could have called someone, but there's no service on bookstore, so
No.
We wouldn't have found them until later on in the day. But anyway, so we went to bookstore, and there was a bunch of people. There's probably like, I feel like in my head there's like 30 or 40 people there, but maybe more.
How was the race itself?
Well, we actually didn't get a race. We did like a bunch of practice runs, and that road has like it's really fast at the beginning. There's like a chicane that's pretty fast, like 45, 50 miles an hour, and then it goes into a really flat hairpin left, and then another one after that. But we were doing practice runs, and the cops came, and they were they
Busted.
like I remember the Pat and I should have looked up his name before this. I cannot remember. It's been so long, but they knew the people on the hill, and like the family that lives in one of the turns were like super down with it. They're like, "Yeah, come out and skate." And then the guy at the bottom, who is the reason why bookstore has that no skateboarding sign, got upset and called. And so they're like, they even had like hay bales. Like they
really?
had like
There's an outlaw with hay bales.
There's outlaw like with hay bales on the side and like one spot.
Jeez.
Like not a lot. And so they're like, "All right, well, we're gonna move the event to another road." And then so we just followed everyone in the train. Everyone got together and drove. I remember in my mind thinking like it was like 10 minutes down the road, but now that I know where It was like an hour of driving because we drove to the Shire from Bookstore.
Oh, that's far.
All on the train, and then drove up to the Shire, and then we raced just the top section from where the pavement starts through the hairpins to the last hairpin in the Shire section.
Okay.
And that was it. And so we raced that.
Who won?
This guy named Diego from Miami.
Diego. Team Florida won. Florida wins.
Yeah. Team Florida won, and they were super upset because the Shire is like a garage almost. It's like you're just on the edge of grip, and it's pretty much like a road, as close of a road you can get to like a garage. And so they killed it. I remember not only did he win, he smoked everyone. It was not even a question. And they were super upset. I remember that. And then we went, and I remember who else was there? Mercer Nunez was there from back in the day.
Nice.
If you remember her. Santiago Cadavid was there. He owns Somos Skateboards now. He's from Colombia too, but he was living in Miami. But then we just went back to some random cabin after that and partied, and then went back to the Blue Ridge again and skated Bookstore again.
Gotta go back for seconds.
And I remember I didn't have a helmet on in the beginning. I wonder if people made me put a helmet on for the race. I think I had to put a helmet on for the race, or maybe not. Maybe they were just send it because it was, I don't know.
Whatever.
They didn't even care. They're these assholes from Florida with no helmet, with a leather jacket on.
That's so legit.
But I remember at that time in my head, I was like, I am so gonna win this race. My whole thought process coming up there is I am going to win this race. I am so good. There's no way. I remember I got out first round. I'm wow, I'm not that good.
Yeah, a little headstrong at the first event. Well, especially if you haven't been to had you been to longboard events at all before then?
No, that was the first one, and I didn't know anything about longboarding either. I just knew about skateboarding, and I had maybe a couple days of riding my friend's longboard, and we never even put our hands on the ground. We just had gloves in case we fall. They were for falling, not for
for any use.
It wasn't for it wasn't for going around turns or sliding or anything. That was specifically for if you fall, this is to catch yourself, because we just had straight bombs in Tallahassee.
How would you you said one of your friends just had an Evo that you just started trying, or how'd you get into it?
So when I moved to Tallahassee for university, one of the people on my street, there was two people, Joey Scotton and Gabe Suarez. I can't remember if Joey lived on my street. He must have lived a street over, but Gabe lived at the top, and we lived on a hill. And we would skated on the regular skateboards, and then Joey had an Evo with big wheels, and he would always go so much faster. I was all right, I want to go that fast.
Yeah.
That, because the goal was just to go as fast as possible. And so he had the board, and then his roommate ended up getting another board from Lanyards, and then so that people had two. And then right after I went to that event in North Carolina, me and Gabe were all right, we want to buy some Evos, and we worked at a smoke shop at the time, and we hit up Lanyards with the smoke shop's email. We're hey, we want to start carrying skateboards, and we want to make an order as a wholesale order. And would you guys sell us some boards on wholesale for our shop? And they're yeah. And so we both ordered Evos. I remember he got this the precision trucks, the Smokies. And we both just got Evos from that and paid half price. I remember I was oh my God, we finessed them. But really, they didn't care. They were selling so many Evos at the time. But yeah, I got an Evo and still didn't have a helmet. And but before that, whenever, oh dude, before that we were still bombing hills with soft wheels, but a gravity board. I remember the reason I had a longboard in Florida is because I was going back to visit family in Alaska, because I'm originally from Alaska. and we were up there, and I was skateboarding at the time, but I didn't have like a. We're in Alaska, and there's no skate parks. There's nothing to skate, but there were some roads, and they were all super bumpy. I remember took this random like 2-day trip to this little town in Florida, and in Alaska, and there's surfing in Alaska and some spots. So there's surf shops, and at the surf shop they had like some longboards, some gravities with like normal skateboard trucks and soft wheels that were really big with like a big tail and a big nose.
Okay.
And I was there, and I remember I couldn't skate because my wheels were too small on my skate park board to like push around the street or do anything. I was like, all right, I'm gonna buy this longboard here so I can at least skate while I'm here. And I bought that there and bombed the hills that were in that little town. And then we went to like, I remember at some point we were in Anchorage and I skated it there, and then I brought it back with me to Florida. So I had that one too. But I always, since I like started skating, I remember at my house we always had like boards that weren't longboards because they didn't have like Randall trucks, but just like big boards with soft wheels. And I remember
something a little different than just a street deck.
Yeah, I never was just like focused like just on like regular skateboards. Like we always had like weird setups at my house. I remember like just learning to kickflip like the giant board, and then in this little like where I lived in Florida and went to high school, it's called Amelia Island in front of the beach, and it's actually got like a pretty decent hill on the coast. It's the highest elevation on the East Coast until you get to like past New York.
Do we know the elevation gain out there?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I'd have to guess, but probably like 100 feet or something like that.
That's pretty good. That's
Like,
really good for Florida.
Like a big hill. Like my grandparents used to live on this hill, and like it's so big that I remember one of the stories was that there was like a backhoe coming down the hill, and it was so steep that the backhoe flipped in my grandparents' driveway and killed the driver.
In Florida?
In Florida, because the brakes went out, and like so it was like a hill. Like I remember going back there like after I started skating downhill and bombing the hill, and you can do like 35, 40. Like we just went straight down it. But there's also some other hills. So our goal, like whenever, and we didn't have gloves or helmet or anything, but like we would put like soft wheels on our shortboard, and like the goal was to just see how far you can make it. And like we didn't know about tucking or anything, so we'd just like stand on the board.
Like how far you could roll?
Yeah, that was it. And there was some hills where it was like up and down, so it was like trying to make it over the one of the humps, and there was like one with 3 humps, and it's like you could make it over the 3rd hump, like you were hauling ass, and like you made it the furthest out of anyone.
No kidding, man. That first hill you were talking about has some serious street cred. If someone died in a backhoe, that's messed up.
Yeah, well, and also like when my parents were kids, I guess they lived on the hill, and like it was like the big thing to build stuff and like build soapboxes and take it down that hill and stuff like that. So there was
people kind of doing gravity stuff on it.
Yeah, so but that's the only place probably for like hundreds of miles that you could even go down a hill on. But
you said you were in high school during this time?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I live like 30 minutes from Kona Skate Park. So like that was my first skate park that I ever went to. Like I got first I was into like whenever I moved from Alaska to Florida, all the kids in my neighborhood, they did rollerblading. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do rollerblading and like aggressive inline with like grinding handrails and doing stair sets. I remember I got to a point where like I could 540 a stair set with rollerblades, and I was like, this is awesome. But then I started so I went to Kona as my first skate park, and like I didn't even know what skateboards were. That was my first time seeing them. I was like, oh, skateboarding, and then I tried somebody's board. And then eventually I would like go to the skate park with my rollerblades and my skateboard. And then eventually I just started going with my skateboard, and then.
Wow, so you started on the aggressive inlines.
Yeah.
Nice.
Peer pressured into it.
You're not the first person on this podcast that's been an aggressive inliner.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good times. But I think what helped was that little hill that I lived on, and Kona has that snake run. Have you been to it?
I have not been to Kona. I've seen the videos of the snake run. Looks pretty.
It's actually pretty fast.
Cool.
Like,
yeah.
It's not easy. Like what makes it easier is because normally people do it with hard wheels,
Okay.
And so it, like, slows you down. But, like, if you do it with, like, a board that can go fast, like, it's really fast. Even on hard boards, it's really fast. Like, it's...
It looks like you could slam on it.
Oh, you could slap really hard. I've done it at, like, 4 in the morning there when they had that event. But that gets you used to speed. I think doing that so much as a little kid helped, like, with understanding speed because it's not slow.
No, not at all. Did you go to college or anything? What'd you do after high school?
Yeah, I moved to Tallahassee. I went to community college there for like 2 years or something like that. And that's where I found all the people that were doing downhill. And then, so I was going to school for geology, and I was, dude, it was so nice. I had like the perfect setup. I like lived on this little hill, and behind my house was work, and I could walk out my backyard and be at work in like 30 seconds.
Is this the smoke shop you're talking
about? Yeah, I worked at the smoke shop. And yeah, I'd sell bongs all day to people and like kick out tweakers. And then on the hill in front of my house, like we used to take the water hose and spray the corner off and then like do slides for the turn. Because normally you could grip it, but when you sprayed it with water, you had to slide. So
that's amazing.
We did that. Like one of my first videos I ever made that I ended up giving to Bustin is like in that neighborhood. But so I was about to transfer to FSU. After I did, I got an associate's in science. And then I went to go transfer, and the year I went to go transfer, they were having funding problems, and FSU was like, "Yo, we're gonna end doing the geology program." And I was like, "What the fuck? All right, well, I don't want to do anything else." So I had to search for another one, and the two options were Gainesville and University of South Florida in Tampa, and ended up moving to Tampa and like changing everything, and going there to like finish my geology degree. And I moved there, and literally like a month later, FSU was like, "Yo, actually, just kidding. Everything's back on. Like, we're back in our already." Like, moved my entire life down there, and like got accepted to the university, and like had an apartment. And so I got stuck there. And for me, I don't like Tampa. It's like a terrible city.
Yeah,
like,
I've never been.
Like Florida sucks in general. Like there's some gyms out there, but like I don't know, Tampa's not that cool. And so I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anyone to hang out with. I lived in like a shitty apartment. And anyway, so I had to go. The only thing I could do was I go skate the skate park of Tampa, which I live like 20 minutes away from. I could do that all the time. And then I went to go skate Claremont all the time.
Okay.
So I got
the King of Claremont Road?
Yeah, we would go skate that all the time. I can't remember who found that, but we'd go skate that. I would drive. It was like an hour from my house, 2 hours from my house. I would drive like every moment I got. Like if I wasn't in the library studying, if I was finished with that, I would immediately just go drive to Claremont, and I would stay out there as long as I possibly could. I would just go walk roads all day.
What year were you started going out to Claremont?
Oh, it had to be in 2010. 2000.
Okay. Did they have an event there that year, or was that?
No, they didn't have an event until they had some outlaws. Dude, you know who had an event there? Is Dubes. You remember Dubes? Not Max Dubler, but Dubes.
Yeah.
Elder, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a race on this road. I think it's called Grassy. And he had an event out there, like I think like 2 or 3 years before I even went out there for the first time.
He was throwing events in Florida?
Yeah, he threw an event in Florida.
Didn't know that.
And I don't really. I had to talk to somebody else that like was at there because I wasn't there. But this is what I heard. Don't know who won. Probably him. He might even have done it on Sugarloaf, which is like another road that's there. But anyway, yeah, I just started going there like I think like really.
I mean, it's the only hill around. I've actually been there before.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah.
Which hills did you go to?
The Claremont. There's like 2 runs in it, maybe. Like
oh, just in that neighborhood?
Yeah.
Did you go to the road that's like next to it where you can do like 50 miles an hour?
No.
I mean, you really can't do 50, but it's like a straight bomb dumb. It's the highest elevation point in Florida.
I did not know about that.
It's right next to it.
I don't think I went there.
It's like 300 feet or something like that. That's like the highest point.
Damn, Florida's got hills.
Yeah. No, if you spray water on them. But yeah, I started going there every day because I was depressed.
So college life. You're more focusing on longboarding at this point. It sounds like. How was like your college situation?
Yeah,
going?
It sucked because like I said, I didn't have any friends, and so it was like just school, and then going to skate, and then the skate friends.
Were you partying and stuff, or
no? There's no one to party with. Like I did literally like, what am I gonna go do? Like there was just go school and go study, and then go skate, and then eventually I was just like, I mean, I was still doing good. I was still making like good grades. Yeah, but eventually I was just like, dude, I really don't like what's going on here. And I was like I was in like the last year before I was about to graduate, and I just like gave up. And it was like, I think I had like 6 credits left to do or something. I was like, oh, you know what happened is I went to Danger Bay. That's what happened. I went to Danger Bay one summer, like the year before I was supposed to finish. And I went to Danger Bay and I was like, this is awesome. This is the best thing ever.
What year Danger Bay? Do you remember?
No. No idea. I mean, it had to be like 2011 or 2010.
Okay.
Or 2000. It couldn't have been 2012.
So this is about the time that longboarding starts taking over your life.
Yeah. You know what happened was they had, they did that. First thing that sparked it was they had that adrenaline race, was the 24, not 24, it was the marathon race, 26 miles or whatever you had to push, and they had it in Miami. And I remember hearing about that, and the top prize was $10,000.
Okay. Is it at the race? Did they do it at the racetrack?
No, they didn't do that racetrack. They just did it like through Miami. Like it was the very first one that they ever did. I don't know how I heard about it, but somebody told me about it, and like the prize was $10,000. And I remember being like, oh, I can definitely push faster than like all these people. There's no way. And I remember I went one day and pushed like 26 miles one time, which now I don't even think I pushed 26 miles. I think I just like was like, yeah, I'm good. I totally got this. Jumped down there. And I remember Jeff Fine was there. All the people from New York were there. I met all of them. And we did like the push race. And I remember I made it like a mile of like pushing with Jeff and them. And they immediately gave up. And when I got my bicycle going, then rode the rest of it with them.
Were they just hauling ass?
They're going so fast.
Oh my
god! The
gosh.
whole time, like they sprinted in the beginning. And I was like, all right, they're gonna like slow down eventually, and then no one slowed down. And I was like, all right, well, I definitely am out of gas.
Is that how you kind of got linked up with the Bustin crew, or?
So then like I started to meet more people, and then I had made a Facebook whenever I was in Tampa. I remember that, and then I started making all the friends. So I started seeing like some events and some of the downhill community, and then there was like, oh wow, did we get turned up? Yeah,
a little bit. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's good. And then there was the Surf Expo in Orlando, and then there was a garage race in Miami, and I guess the Bustin people, like this guy named Mike Dallas was there at the Surf Expo. Mercado was there, Andrew Mercado.
Okay.
And I met all of them at the Surf Expo, and then they were like Mike Dallas and Mercado wanted to get to Miami, and I had a car, and I was like, yeah, I'll go to this garage race in Miami, and ended up hanging out with them. And I remember we slept in Ben's efficiency apartment with like 20 people, and his landlord came in the morning and got super upset. That was after the race, and everyone was trying to find a spot to stay, and and so I met Mercado and Mike Dallas. And Mike Dallas ended up, I got his number, and he sent me a Bustin Ibach. They had like just made it or whatever.
That are like yellow on the bottom or
yep.
whatever?
The yellow and the Boca wheels.
Okay.
With the weird conical.
I love those fucking wheels.
I have a set,
those
actually.
Those are some of my favorite wheels.
Yeah, they actually were pretty good, and they still are pretty good. I have a set, just brand new, sitting at my house that I bought from someone recently.
Dude, that's so sick. So he hooked you up with a board and some wheels.
Yeah, he just sent me a board because I can't remember. Maybe he just like saw me skating. Because I definitely didn't do good at the race, and I don't think Mercado eventually sent me some trucks, but I can't remember what happened. But yeah, he sent me the Ibach board, and I was like, cool, thanks. And I was like, somewhere in between this, I had gone to Puerto Rico.
Okay, I was going to ask when you kind of started going out of country doing...
Because I knew from going to the event in North Carolina and then meeting all the people in the Miami and then going to the garages in Miami and skating with them, they knew about the event in Puerto Rico because they were way more in tune with all the stuff that was going on. And they're like, we're going to Puerto Rico. I was like, me and my friend Gabe were like, all right, we're going to go too. And I still had like the leather jacket, but now I had an Evo, no helmet still. Like I would go skating in Miami,
keeping it real,
garages, no helmet, and then I went to the Oaxaca race in Puerto Rico. That was my first event, besides the outlaw race in North Carolina.
You just went straight to like I'm going on a plane somewhere.
Yeah,
to my next event.
Yeah, and like that was like that probably was the first time I went on a plane to go on a skate trip or like anywhere really, because I never really had traveled that much, besides just like trips to Alaska and stuff with my family. But I remember we got on the plane, and Chris Chappett from that. This is the owner of Ibach 11 or whatever.
I've never met him, but yeah.
Yeah. So me and him ended up sitting next to each other, and I'm there like with my skateboard and everything, but I don't know anything about the industry.
And you don't know him.
I don't know him. I don't know anything. He's like, I'm Chris Chappett from Ibach 11. And I was like, I don't know what Ibach 11 is.
You don't even know.
I don't even know what that is. But like, cool. He's like, yeah, I make these wheels. He's like, telling me about prototype wheels. And like, eventually he just realized that I'm some idiot. Like, not even idiot, just some completely unaware of the scene. But like, I'm on a plane to go to this crazy event.
But you're going to the event.
So like,
you're like about to find out.
He can't figure out. He doesn't understand why I don't know who he is or anything in skateboarding is. Or I definitely know what skateboarding and stuff was, but not longboarding stuff. But I remember he ended up just like not talking to me halfway through the plane flight because he realized I didn't know anything. But yeah, we got there and then we saw the race was insane, and that was at its peak where it was like 10,000 spectators. And like I remember I met Scoot Smith there, Calvin Staub, I think K Rams was there. Dude, that's all the people that I can remember right now. But yeah, we met a bunch of people, and I ended up like making friends with some of the Puerto Ricans, me and Gabe, and we went. That was in January, and we ended up going back in June just by ourselves, just to go skate Puerto Rico. And there's some videos of that I think on my YouTube too, where I'm just like bombing a hill again, leather jacket, no helmet.
That leather jacket though,
yeah,
so you're getting your use out of it.
Yeah, I got my use out of it, but
so you raced and everything that first year?
Oh yeah, for sure I raced, and that was when now they race from like the bottom section. That race was at like the top in town, where you have to go through a flat part, which is like a full minute of going like 25 miles an hour. I remember Scoot won because he tucked the whole way, and everyone else was pushing like behind him. But they were just going like the same speed, and he was going like the little bit faster than him.
Just enough?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's brutal.
That was good. So in between going to Miami and the Surf Expo and something, I went to Puerto Rico. So like I had an idea of like kind of what the craziness was that was going on, but really it was just like dipping my toes in the water and like didn't know anything. But Mike Dallas sent me that board after the Surf Expo, and I was filming like regular skateboard videos at the time. Like at the time I was actually sponsored by like there's Phase 1 Skate Shop. Shout out to Orly. Thank you for being my first sponsor.
Shout out Phase 1.
Yeah, and I got like some board company was sending me boards too. I forget their name now. It's been so long. But so I was making videos with like regular skaters and like filming. I remember I tried like a triple kink handrail and ate shit. And some other stuff. So I had like kind of an idea about making videos. Anyway, they sent me the Bustin Ibach board, and I made a video for them and sent it to Bustin. And Bustin was like, "We like this. Can you make some more?" And I was like, "Yes."
Was this you doing like?
That was the first video that you might ever see.
Because I saw a video of you on the Ibach doing like shove-its and stuff and like
that's
slide
it.
shoves and
That's
stuff.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. I start out the video and I do like a nollie shove it both ways and then switch and do a fakie shove it both ways, and there's grass rides.
Definitely grass rides.
And that was like my interpretation, because I was coming from like regular skateboarding, and like I knew like some longboard tricks and stuff, so like that was my interpretation of like what you should make into a longboarding video. I remember I did like some switch toe sides in there, which I thought would like show people how cool I was, but it was just like a switch 180. I switched to side 180, but then I had some like other, I don't know, but they liked that because it was weird, because at the time everyone didn't like Bustin. I remember that. Do you remember that?
I do.
Everyone, because Bustin's from New York and they were a push, and everyone was like lane yachts, downhill. Everyone was like very anti Bustin.
Well, Bustin was new. It was the new to the scene.
Yeah, they're started in 2001, so they weren't that new.
Oh shit!
But
actually, this would probably be a good time to segue into a guest question I have.
Okay.
For you from Sean Graves.
Oh, Sean.
Yo, Dan, it's Sean. I heard you were interviewing Mr. Will Royce for the All Grip podcast, and I just thought it'd be interesting to hear about that first time we met, and probably the first time you met Will, and just how it ended up, your board turned into firewood, I guess.
Oh.
I can't really remember all the details, but I do know that there was a lovely Bustin board involved, and it was at Munnsville, lots of fire, good times, and you ended up skateboarding on a different board at the end of the day. So good times. Hope you enjoy interviewing Mr. Royce, and look forward to hearing all about the adventures.
Nice. Oh, yeah. Good memories right there. Dude, what year was that? So that was the first time I met you at Munnsville.
That was 2013.
2013? Okay, so yeah, I didn't live in Florida anymore, but I remember one of my his name was Taylor. He drove up from Florida to go to Munnsville to do that race, and I was coming from somewhere else. Can't remember, but yeah, how did it start? They're like, we want to give you a new board, but you have to get rid of your old board and throw it in the fire.
Yeah, like I think Sean and Anthony Fliss may have been involved. I think Jeff Chappell too, perhaps. They were like, burn your Bustin.
They're like, burn your board. I remember how it started for me. It was like we were just hanging out somewhere at the campground, and they came over and like, we need somebody to give we're just minus some wheels and some bearings and something like that. And I was like, I have wheels and bearings. Does somebody need it? And they're like, yeah. I didn't know what was going on at the time. And I walk over. I was like, yeah, here you guys go. Here's like a set of Bustin wheels and some bearings or something shit like that. And they're like, cool. And then they had your board, and they're like, yeah, we're going to throw this board in the fire. I remember it was like a Bustin board, and I was like, what? I remember thinking at the time that they were like trying to fuck with me. But like they didn't know who I was, or like they didn't care.
I didn't know what was going on. They were like, I was like, I can't, but this is my first race. I've been like, I didn't bring another board. And they're like, we'll give you a board. And I was like, I don't know. They're like, we'll give you wheels too and grip tape. And I think you gave me
Maybe I gave you trucks. Oh, I probably
gave me some vicious, I remember, and I was like, it was just kind of a funny situation. I'm like, dude, I know this
So the
guy.
goal was to throw your board in the fire and burn it.
Yeah.
They wanted to burn your board. Did they want to burn your board because it was Bustin', or they just wanted to burn your board?
I think because it was Bustin'.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, people really just did not like Bustin'.
Which I don't know why. I fucked with Bustin'. Like we talked about Mike Dallas earlier. Shout out Mike.
Oh, yeah.
But
Michigan, Mike. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it was because New York was so far removed from the scene on the West Coast, and they're like pushers, and then like they weren't like, if you ever been to New York, you know they also like they're not that good at downhill. I'm sorry, New York, but
it's that NYC.
There's
push.
some that come out that are pretty good, but like for the majority, like 'cause they don't have the Never mind. Just like
the
us,
terrain.
just like us in Asheville, we're not good at pushing, except for you got Adam
Yeah.
from Blue Ridge Project.
I don't push in.
Yeah, no one's good at pushing in Asheville, and no one's good at downhill really in New York. But they really didn't like Bustin.
Well, I think the narrative changed over the years, but I thought Bustin was cool. Y'all's shape started changing too. Like y'all had like a lot of push oriented, kind of more like urban shapes.
Yeah,
and
well,
then, like
they made the
downhill stuff.
Ibach, and then they made the Ratmobile.
I like the Ratmobile. I had that board. That's the board I burned.
Oh, that was it?
It was
You
a
burned the
Ratmobile.
Oh, that's kind of sad.
It had, like just came out. I got like a Blem one or something. All right, so we kind of skipped a little bit ahead there. But it's all right. We're not going like chronological per se. When did you decide to leave Florida and move somewhere else?
Oh yeah, so I was my last year of university. I'd already gone to Danger Bay. I remember because I had made those videos for Bustin'. I remember I emailed them and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to Danger Bay," and they're like, "Cool, we're going out there too. We need like a rider to represent us." They're like, "You want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." No idea. Like never, just going straight into the fire. Didn't know anyone, and like I remember I got there. Everyone hated me. They're like really upset because like I was just like some street skater kid that had a longboard that was there with Bustin'. They already hated Bustin' too. So I was like, and I didn't know any of the people. I didn't know any of the intricacies. I didn't know how to do like a slide jam and wait for people. I did the slide jam like I did like at a skate park. Like you just go, take your turn.
You're
and,
just
like,
going.
run over people if you need to and like do whatever you do. And so they didn't like that. But I went to Danger Bay and then I had to do geology work in Utah. So I spent a month in southern Utah mapping extinct volcanoes, which sounds way cooler than it is. But it was basically just like they have this like magnetometer and it's like basically a lawnmower that you go over this huge field with and you can map underneath what's under the ground. And I had to go do that for like a month. And I remember it was that moment where like we'd go back at the end of the day and we'd get all the data from all the things, and on all like the professors and all the other people were like really excited about the data and like, oh my God, we just found this new tunnel underneath this one section and like we don't know where it goes. And I remember thinking like, I don't like this. Yeah. Like like my whole goal with studying geology is like being like I want to learn about. I just want to learn how the planet works. And then we got in the field and started doing work, and I was like, this is not that fun. And I had my skateboard with me, and I remember going off and skating while we were supposed to be doing work, and I got in trouble. Anyway, came back to Tampa and was like, all right, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I don't think I can do another year of school here, even though I'm like so close to finishing. And at the time, my parents had seen that I'd gone to like Canada or something. I don't know what their thinking was, but they bought an RV for like $500 from my uncle. Like their intentions were probably great, but like this thing was a piece of shit that like it was $500. Like it barely ran. It was a 1978, and they're like, yeah, you can drive this to on your next travels and like go to Canada or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool.
From Florida?
Yeah. From Florida. I remember I had to have done something in between there because I got sponsored by Gullwing because of Mercado, and I got sponsored by Vicious, and I got sponsored by Timeship. I think I went to Ditch Slap, and I met a bunch of people there, and at Ditch Slap I made a bunch of friends. And like that was like more in my element because there was like a bunch of street skating in there mixed with longboarding.
Yeah, a little more hybrid. Kinda.
That helped, and I got some sponsors, and so I had some sponsors at the time. My parents bought this RV, and then it really sucked, and they paid like $500 for it. But I remember I got a credit card, and I put like $2 or $3 grand in fixing it up, and like I found this mechanic who like knew everything about that engine. It was like an old Dodge 440. And we went to the junkyard, found like, I remember the sickest sounding car because we found a Flowmaster exhaust on this old truck in the junkyard and welded it on there. Anyway, so we got to the point, and like I drove that bitch to Key West one time just like on spring break, still in college, being like trying to figure out if this RV was doable. Anyway, at some point I was like, all right, I'm leaving for the summer, and I'm gonna drive this thing to Vancouver. With really like, dude, like no plan. Like I don't know what I was thinking at the time. There's no plan. Like I just took all the stuff out of my apartment. I remember I made a video of like taking everything apart, like my drum set, and moving it all back into my parents' house. I don't know why I made this stupid video, but
I'll dig it up. Don't worry.
it's in the beginning of a Kona video that I filmed. So I went when I was back there. I was like, oh, I should film an old video at Kona, and I filmed some on the Bustin boards at Kona with like longboards, and like I think my mom got my mom to film it with like a tripod. And yeah, you can look it up. It's on YouTube.
Shout out mom. Got mom on film patrol.
Yeah. And like, dude, this RV was such a piece of shit. I can just not express how much of a piece of shit it was. But everything on the engine I had replaced. Like every little moving part or everything was completely. So the engine block itself was solid, and then everything on it was new. The starter, fucking everything. And I got like 3 friends: Cody Lux, Gabe Suarez, and I think Sarah Paulshock. Yeah, because I met her before all this. I had gone to New York, met all the people in New York, went to the longboard loft, and like met all these people. So at some point in between there, I'd already gone to New York and met all the Bustin people. But I just said, dude, I ended up asking the companies. Must have been in the heyday, because I reached out to like Vicious and Going and Bustin, and I was like, hey, I'm about to drive this RV to Vancouver and go to the events there. Do you guys want to sponsor it? And I remember getting like $2,000 in cash.
Sco.
from like, I remember I got $1,000 from Vicious. I got $2,000 from Going.
From a grip tape sponsor.
Yes. Like, and we made these huge logos, and I put them on the side of the RV, and like I was like, it looked like very, very shittily professional.
But you're advertising.
Yeah, but I was advertising. We drove all the way across the country in that thing, and it got like, I remember it cost $1 per mile to drive. It cost $1 per mile.
Oh, gas was crazy. It's probably expensive.
It wasn't even expensive. That thing just was like a giant fucking guzzling RV, right? From the 70s. And it cost $1 per mile. So like,
how many miles is it from Florida to Vancouver?
Dude, I think it's like 5,000 or 6,000. We stopped again at Ditch Slap on the way. So the first stop was Ditch Slap, then Maryhill, I think, and then going to Vancouver. Anyway, like I had already run out of money by like just with gas, because it cost like, I think it cost like $4,000 or $5,000 just to get to Ditch Slap, just in gas, and that's just driving every day, nonstop. When we drove straight to Ditch Slap, so I just burned through $5,000 driving to Ditch Slap. That was it. Like just like
Worth
all
it.
the sponsors' money gone. I remember I took out a school loan I knew I was quitting school at the time. But you could take like loans out for the next semester. And I remember I took out like a $3,000 or $4,000 loan from school to finish the trip, which like I'm still paying on today. I owe like, I don't owe that much compared to other people. I think I owe like $5,000 or $6,000 left from my student loans, but I'm still paying like $100 or something a month today from that. But I took money out to finish the trip. Got to Ditch Slap, did all the shit there. Got to Maryhill. That was like the best I ever qualified. I think I qualified like 15th at Maryhill that year.
Oh, okay.
And that was like pretty good for not like ever racing that much. And then got to Vancouver, did Danger Bay, and then I think the next weekend was Mount Washington, and ended up winning Mount Washington.
No
randomly.
kidding.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was in the rain, and it was like it's like 60 miles an hour or something like that. And I just held on, and everyone was falling. I remember all the race heats, people were just eating shit, and I would always start in the back, and everyone would fall, and I'd just pass all of them and keep going.
Were there like sliding corners and stuff, or what was the track like?
There you had to slide because of the rain, but normally you don't have to. It's normally just like a really fast highway
Okay.
style. It's not like a straight bomb. It's got like sweeping turns and stuff. I remember I won like $500 for winning, and like if I didn't win that money, I don't think I could have made it to the next wherever I was going next, because at that time I had like $0 in my bank account, even because driving the thing was so expensive. Like I remember even the people I left with threw down like $500 each, and like basically I had no money, and I didn't have any way of making money. I had spent all my money from the loan, and then so basically if I didn't win, I didn't know where I was gonna go next, and then I won that race, and then it was like $500. I went some boards from that and sold all that.
So you're like, now I can go 500 miles maybe.
Yes, that's exactly right. No, but I just ended up parking it. We did all the other events that year, and I ended up parking it at the Vancouver Skate House. What did they call that place? The Stoop.
The Stoop.
Yeah, I parked at the Stoop, and it hung out there for a while. There's so much stuff I'm missing. Oh my God, there's so many little.
So were you living in Vancouver then for a little?
Yeah, I lived in Vancouver for like 2 months at the Stoop.
Oh my God.
In the RV. And dude, and then at some point I left and like drove down to Portland. Oh my God, I don't even know what happened. Oh no, I drove to you remember 5 Mile?
5 Mile longboards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was good friends with them, Cody and Dan, and they had like just made their like factory, and they were like pressing boards. I remember they having such problems because they had such crazy curves. Like
that, they had that one board that had like right in the middle of the board had like a drop or something. I can't remember the name of that board.
I can't remember either, but I remember being at the factory and like 1 out of every 10 they pressed were okay, and the rest were trash, and they were just like bleeding through money. And like I remember I parked my RV at their little shop in Tacoma and stayed there for a while, and then slowly moved down the coast. You know, at this point I'd never even been to California. Still never even been to California at this point.
Oh my gosh.
And then I went to Portland and the skate house with Ripsy Skate and JP and Casey Morrow and Carmen and Alicia. And
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to them. And then like tried to weasel my way into their house. Oh, dude, I remember at some point in between all this, I remember staying with Billy Miners and John Huey at their house, and that was at the time where I like was just starting to travel. I remember I pissed. I don't know if I pissed John Huey off, but I definitely pissed Billy off. I was like putting stickers on his table, and like he was really upset. And I stayed with them for like I overstayed my welcome, and then, like I remember so Billy didn't like me after that. And I think John Huey didn't like me, but I ended up becoming friends with John. But I remember Billy Myers really didn't like me. I remember somehow, even though they didn't like me, I got on a trip to go to the Soli Outlaw. And I was just staying on John Huey and Billy's couch in Portland. They're like, we're going to Soli. I was like, all right, I'm coming. And I was with that chick, Sarah Paulshock, too. And we all went out there, but when we tried to cross the border, it's like, I can't go to Canada because I have an arrest from running from the cops while skating. And in Canada, I guess resisting arrest is a felony or something. That's what they explained to me. So I can't go to Canada. But
let's talk about this. Hold on. We got to talk about this running from the cops on a longboard or on a skateboard or whatever you said.
Yeah, so it was
when did this happen?
It was in between the time. It was like right when I was about to move to Tampa. So I was still living in Tallahassee. And we're at this in Jacksonville Beach in Florida. There's like a 4th of July party, and everyone rides beach cruisers. And the whole, like, this one section of town is shut down. Everyone's riding beach cruisers. There's like kegs in front of people's houses. There's pool parties everywhere. And I was with my friend, and they were on beach cruisers, and I was on a longboard. And we were going from one house party to the next, and there was like a church parking lot that was like flagged off with caution tape or whatever, and there's a sidewalk right next to it. And because I was on a longboard, I could just like dip under the caution tape and ride right next to the sidewalk in that like parking lot. And so that's what I did, and they were all on the sidewalk, and out of nowhere I just heard like somebody yell, "Hey, stop!" And then the next thing I know, I was like being tackled, like policeman bodied, full football style, just like boom, tackled me. Like I didn't even have time to react or anything, and like we both hit the ground. I remember I rolled. And like I got up and I was immediately on my feet, like looking down at the cop on the ground, and I flicked him off like in his face, and I was like, "Fuck you, asshole! Oh. You should never do that to cops. Like I don't care what happens, but like, dude, you are setting yourself up for disaster." So I flicked him off, and then got my board and like skated off.
So you're in a hot pursuit now, but you're pushing.
We didn't know it was a hot pursuit yet because I met back up with all my friends that were on the bikes. Like after we got out of the parking lot. And we were like, and I was like, "Yo, did you guys see that?" They're like, "Yeah, that was crazy." And I was like, "What the fuck is that guy's problem? Why did he just tackle me?" Like I couldn't figure it out. And as we're talking, like we hear like sirens. I'm like, "Oh shit, do you guys think those are for me?" And then we see 2 cop cars like coming, and they like pull up like to our group really fast. Like they are for me. Fuck, I'm out. So I started skating. So it's me skating, 2 cop cars, lights and sirens behind me, like weaving through all these pedestrians. So it's like the cops really can't go too fast because like there's just people everywhere, and I'm skating in between them. And then it was like 2 blocks. I made it to the beach, and my board hit the sand, and I just left the board there and started running down the beach.
So now you're on foot.
So now I'm on foot. And at the time I was in like such good shape, and I was running all the time that I outran all the cops that started chasing me. So like, and it's 4th of July, there's hundreds of thousands of people on the beach, but like I'm super recognizable because I have dreads, and so I outrun all.
Say they're gonna pick you out easily.
I outrun all the cops in like the first 30 minutes, and they kept coming. There was more cops, and then I outran them, and then there was more cops. It was like GTA. They just kept coming. They kept coming off the.
Say that. You had like 2 stars. They just keep coming.
It really was like I maxed out. Like I had 5 stars. Like they just kept coming. Because I would just outrun them down the beach, and I would go until I couldn't see them anymore. And then all of a sudden, walking over the sand dunes down to the beach would be like more cops. And then eventually, after like an hour or so, I outran everyone to where I like wasn't even paying attention anymore. And I was like, saw some random people, and they were playing frisbee. I was like, oh, I started playing frisbee on the beach. And then
you're blending in.
Yeah, I started blending in, but dude, I couldn't blend in because I looked so unique at the time. And then I turned around, and there was like cops right behind me again. They had found me again, so I ran from them, outran them again, and was like, eventually, like, all right, the sun's starting to go down now. Like, well, I should just go swim in the water until like the sun's completely down, and then I'll come out. And then that was my thought process. So I ran into the water, but before I got to the water, I remember I took off my shoes, so I gave them time to catch up to me, but not enough to catch me. And I started running into the water, and they shot me with a taser in my ass. So like knee deep in water, about to dive in, get shot with the taser, face plant in the water, right? And then they pulled me out.
What?
Yeah. All this because I was riding my skateboard in a parking lot of a church that apparently wasn't posted to that. And I remember they dragged me out, and there was thousands of people on the beach, and they all started clapping. All the people
because they got you.
Because they got me. They didn't. These people don't know what the fuck is going on, but they just saw the cops chasing me, and so all the people start clapping, and they take me on there, and they're like, I remember they were really upset, and they threw me in the back of the cop car, and I remember I got the door of the cop car open at one point because the window was down.
You weren't done. I
was like, I could get out right now, and I was like, fuck, they already have my ID. Like I got a calculus test tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon that I gotta get back to. I was like, all right, maybe I can get back to it. And so I ended up going to jail. Dude, the craziest part was when I got to jail, because they charged me with like all kinds of crazy felonies, like battery on a police officer with a deadly weapon, my skateboard, resisting arrest with violence. Like there was like 5 charges, and it was like super fucked up. So they put me in the really high level security part of the jail with like people that were there for like drug trafficking, crazy stuff, and murder. And I get there, and like I'm like covered in sand from the beach, all on my hair, and they throw me into the cell. And in my cell is all the people, and they're making hooch, jail wine, in the toilet. So the toilet is full of wine that they're making, and they're just dipping cups in the toilet, drinking it, and talking shit. I'm like, how is this possible right now? And like at some point, somebody lit a joint and like smoked it out of the window in jail.
Word.
And like, and they made me drink the hooch wine. I remember that.
They made you.
I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, I have to do it. And I had to drink that. Oh my God. I don't even know if I should say this, but at some point in the night, so outside, I don't know if it's a prostitute or somebody's girlfriend. We're like 5 stories up in the jail, and in this parking lot, well lit with lights, is this chick and she starts finger blasting herself butt naked in the parking lot for the whole jail to see. Oh. The whole jail starts going insane like a zoo, like monkeys at the zoo. Everyone's banging on everything. People are screaming, and for like a solid minute, the jail just erupts in chaos, and she's just down there like finger blasting herself, going to town, whatever, and then gets up and walks off. And
she knew what she was doing.
Dude, I don't know if somebody paid her to do that. I don't know what happened, but still, it was so insane. But anyway, I went to sleep eventually. Wake up in the morning, and I didn't understand how much trouble I was in at the time, but my bail was like millions of dollars because they charged me with every single thing they could, because they were extremely pissed because I'd outran them for hours. And so not only like flicking off the cop in the beginning pissed them off, and then like the fact that they couldn't catch me and they had put all those resources in for hours, that they charged me with every single thing they could. So like my bail was insane. So even if I wanted to bond out, my bond out was going to be like $100,000. Like my bail was like more than $1 million.
Bro, you did like a triathlon.
Yes. To outrun the cops. They were so
outrunning
upset.
the cops. 3 different disciplines: skate, foot, swimming.
Yeah, I remember I got one phone call. Like I didn't even call my parents. I didn't call my family. I remember I had this lawyer from when I got arrested for like, dude, I got arrested once skateboarding to work, and the cop was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And like immediately searched my pockets and had weed on me, and it was a whole fiasco. And I had got this lawyer. Her name was Teresa Sopp. And I don't know.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to her. But I don't even know if she's still around. But I called her, and I somehow got through to her because my friend's mom was friends with her, and something happened. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I quit being a lawyer like a while ago. Like I'm about to go on a cruise and sail around the world. But like the DA and Jack Speech, they owe me a favor. I'm gonna call them, and I'm gonna call you back." And like at this point, like I'm in jail, like my bond to get out would be like $100,000. Like I'm not getting out for
not happening
for a long time. Like I have no idea how much shit I'm in because I'm like 21 at the time, and this just doesn't register anything. And she calls me back, and I don't know how she called me back in jail, or maybe I had to call her like 10 minutes later, and she was like, "Yeah, okay, so we got everything dropped. You're going to plead guilty to resisting arrest, and it's $100 to get out of jail." And I was like, "Oh, cool, thanks." Like, wasn't like, "Oh my God, you just saved like 10 years of my life." Like, I was going to be in jail for years. And yeah, so went and signed some papers and got picked up and got out of jail. I remember I went back and like, I think I made like a D on that math test because it was so crazy, but that's why
you're still worried about your calculus test at this point.
I was. I didn't know what was, dude. Oh my God, my life would have been changed if I didn't have that lawyer. And like, she did it for free, like for nothing. For free. Just like made one phone call. She was like, "Yeah, the people in Jack's Beach suck. If anyone knows, like if you are in a beach town in Florida, the cops there are really, really, really bad." But
dude, that's wild.
So that's why I came to Canada. But so I had all this paperwork. So the 2 times that I went to Canada, I had all this paperwork that was like explaining the whole situation. But like all the charges were dropped. Everything is fine. Like I think I got maybe I pled to like an intoxicated in public charge or something. But when you go to Canada, they see your arrest record, not what you've been convicted of. So they see like all these crazy charges, like battery on a police officer with a deadly weapon, like is the main one at the beginning. They see that.
Don't look good.
And then I have to explain the story to him. But how can you explain that story to like border patrol?
I wasn't trying to kill him.
Like, so I had all this paperwork, and they were like letting me through, and everything was fine. And then one time I tried to cross the border I remember it was with Zach and Billy, and I think John Huey. I can't remember who else. And we got to the border, and it was in the middle of Idaho, and the border patrol people were just basically like, "Nah, we don't want to let you through. Like, we don't like you." And I was like, "Fuck, all right." And I was like, okay, so I just got dropped off like 10 minutes from the border by Billy, John, and Zach, and I hitchhiked back to Seattle from the middle, and I remember I got a hotel
with all you have like all your gear and shit.
Mm-hmm. So I hitchhiked back to Seattle, which was like 12 hours or something like that. I don't know, driving. I remember I got 2 stops. I got a ride to Spokane, and then I got a ride from Spokane by a meth head to Seattle, and he was smoking meth like while we were driving. I remember being like, "Well, this is my only ride." But I remember also too. Yeah, I remember also too, like Zach and Billy and John, they had like buried some weed somewhere, and I remember like a month or two later they called me or something like, "Yo, did you take that weed we had buried?" Like they couldn't find the weed that they had buried themselves, and then they thought I'd went back and got it. Like I wish I'd fucking got it, because that would have been great to be able to like smoke some weed that night after like getting turned around. But anyway,
damn.
So that's
got to bury the weed before the border.
Yeah, that was their move. Bury the weed before the border and then come back. But like, and then they couldn't find it, and they thought that I took it. So that was another reason why I think Billy didn't like me.
Stole my weed, bro.
At the time, yeah.
My ground weed.
That's why I can't go to Canada. I went one time after that. I crossed, and with all the paperwork again, and then another time I tried to cross after that, and they denied me, and I had two denials for entry, and like pretty much if I try to do it again, like I'll get in trouble, so I can't go to Canada.
Damn, I'm sorry, dude. That's insane, though. That's pretty wild.
Yes.
Well, when we're skipping around today, we're just kind of going free form.
We lost.
When was the first time you went to California?
It's sad because I don't remember. No idea. No fucking idea, dude. I know. Did I go to San Francisco first and then to LA? Yeah, okay. So I think I had a friend from high school who moved to the Bay Area, and he lived there. And I went to. That's when I did the RedBull, the Steepcrest thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I moved to. I still don't think I've been to LA yet, but I was living in Portland, and then I went down to South America for a while and left my RV just parked there, and I kept coming back to it, and everything kept breaking. Eventually, I sold the RV for like $500 to my friend, and within like a week, some tweakers broke into it, ripped the ignition out, and the RV was trashed forever. But
that poor RV.
That poor RV. But dude, I drove that thing 10,000 miles after doing anything. It never broke down one time. Always started. Like it's 1978 Fleetwood something. And anyway, it survived great. It was great. But sold that RV and then moved to like shared a room, or I think I slept on the couch with somebody in the shittiest part of Oakland that you could like live at. Like I remember somebody got murdered in our driveway. Like I only lived there for like a year, and we had to talk to the FBI. A house got robbed twice. I wasn't there both times, but my roommates were there. Like they came in with guns through the window because we had a duplex, and our neighbor was like not a great person, and was like had all kinds of shit at the house that were like stolen and all kinds of stuff. And so they thought we were the neighbors. And they come in and they're like, "Where are the drugs and the money?" And
You're like, wrong house.
like, dude, there's some weed and like a bong in the back of the back room back there. And like, no, where's the drugs and the money? And I remember my roommates telling me that they realized they got the wrong house, so they took all their phones and just left. And like, they got robbed at gunpoint. This is how gnarly Oakland is. They got robbed at gunpoint. And they called the cops and were like, "Yo, like we just got robbed and they took all our phones and they took our laptops and all that stuff." And the cops didn't even come to make a report. They're like, "You should just file a report online."
It'll be easier for you to do it online. It's not a big deal.
Like, that's how gnarly Oakland, this section of Oakland, like, what street? They're like, oh, no. Like, we're not going to deal with that.
Well, I'm glad you only lived there for a little while.
But yeah, it was super bad. But yeah, I lived in San Francisco and skated with all I think the Sunset Sliders was still going on there. I think where did Liam live? Dude, Liam and James lived in a certain part of No, that was later. I think they were living at the Sunset Sliders house at the time. I remember Big Dave still had the bus. They were still going to sessions. That was a good time. But yes.
How was RedBull Steepcrest? Like, I've seen some videos. It looks...
That just came out of nowhere. I was like living like J.M. Duran randomly wrote me a message one day and was like, "Yo, you want to come to this event? I need more people." And it was like the next morning or something. And I was like, "Okay, sure." No idea what was going on. And I remember I took the train, 2 buses, and then walked all the way to this event because like at the time I was super poor. And I think I was making like $300 a month at the time. And like the money went nowhere. And so I took the train, 2 buses, walked up these crazy hills to where this event was at. To this day, I should talk to him about how he finessed that. But I guess they wanted to do an event in San Francisco on one of the steep hills. He had organized it. He needed more people to come race. I was one of them. And it was just like on the steepest hill in San Francisco that you can imagine with the concrete blocks. Whereas like there's just like a huge crack like every
it's not
couple
like
seconds.
Yeah, it's like a crack
smooth.
every 10 feet or something.
Yeah, like huge cracks to where like if you slide over the crack you'll fall. And then they had ramps on the humps to make it even better. There was like 2 sections where there was just like a launch ramp off into the void basically.
The footage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Of like you're bombing down and then sliding a little bit so you don't go full speed over it maybe, or maybe not.
Yeah, I think their goal, like with them making the event, and the bikers were kind of going full speed. The bikers, I remember, went further, but their goal was basically to like murder us. Like they wanted us to go down from the top and not slide and just go full speed off the ramp and see if we could survive. And then the person that survived at the bottom won, whatever. But everyone, all the skaters, were like, "No, we're sliding." And
they're like, "We're gonna fucking kill these longboarders."
It basically ended up just being who could go off the ramp the fastest, and like who could slide the least, like before the ramp.
And you won.
Yeah, I remember I had the. I don't know how. I just got lucky. I remember I did it with leathers. I don't know why. I was like scared I was gonna die because we didn't even go that fast off the ramp. But I remember I did it with like AFB and Louis Poloni. And I can't remember who else was in the finals, but there's video of it. I think maybe Chance Gall. But yeah,
I thought that was a pretty unique event. I was like, you don't really see this every day. Were there losers there as well?
No, there was no losers. There's just bikers, and then there were skaters, and then did the race, and then they just had us after. They're like, "All right, see how far you can go off the ramp," and that's when there's the footage of people going like super far off the jump ramp and like. People doing 360s and people jumping the bikes really far.
Hell yeah! So you're living in San Fran. You just won RedBull Steepcrest. Did you win prize money?
No money.
No money.
Dude,
you needed that money.
And I
too.
walked there. Like I probably had like $10 in my bank account. I probably spent like the $2 to get there to being like, oh, maybe I'll win some money there. And like they gave me like a prize trophy, and they interviewed me when I was like super out of breath after like literally within 1 second of running into the hay bales at the bottom. It's like, so how did the race go? And I was like, it was good.
Like, all right,
Yeah.
here's your winner.
Here's your winner. Yeah, no race money, but like a super cool trophy.
That's legit.
But that was funny. Yeah, I wish they would do that again, but they never will. I remember it was like really expensive and like it wasn't what Red Bull wanted, probably. I don't know.
Red Bull comes out of the woodwork now and again and decides to throw some money at longboarding.
I feel like not in the United States, but whenever I go to like events in like South America or Europe, there's always like a giant Red Bull blow up start line, and I'm like, what? How come it's never in the United States? I guess the reps in the United States, there's too many laws, probably.
Yeah, too much.
Too much liability.
I
don't know.
So you said you were going to Puerto Rico pretty long ago. Was that a destination you were going to?
Oh yeah,
regularly.
We went to every year. I remember every year for a while, and it was just getting more. I like didn't miss that race because how crazy it was, and it was getting more and more. And the peak was, dude, I do not remember the year, but it had the most people, thousands and thousands of spectators, and they had the free concert by this band Cultura Profética, which is like a super famous, they're world famous band, but they're from Puerto Rico, and they played a free concert in the baseball field at the top. And so there were so many people that year. And that's the same year I think Zach ran over that girl in one of the race heats. And she went to the hospital. Dude, I remember doing a race heat. They don't care about, like, the party is more important than the race. And so, like, they would never, like, you'd get there at, like, 9 a.m. and then maybe do one heat at, like, 1 or something. And so they would always be behind time. I remember it took one race heat. It was 10 people per race heat. There was 2 lines. There was
10-man heat.
There was 5 people in the front and 5 people in the back.
Okay.
So it was a 10-man race heat.
You're in the back. Like,
I remember I was
the fuck.
Yeah, I remember I was with Casey Muro on one of those heats and some other people. But the first time they tried to do that heat is we started out pushing, and as soon as we got into tuck, after pushing really hard, a pit bull ran into the road, and the first person, because they were like looking straight down, hit the pit bull, like to the point where the pit bull went up into the pack of all of us because we were all together. And it's a 10-person race heat, and it was like bowling pins. It was just like boom, 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 and the dog just hit everyone in the race heat. Like everyone crashed. I remember I barely stayed on my board, like, and one other person did, and we made it down to the bottom. And they're like, we got to rerun the heat again. So I had to do again another start of 10 people in the race heat.
Was the dog okay?
Yeah, the dog was fine.
Oh my god!
But
just bounced around. Like
there's been some other dogs in Puerto Rico that have not been fine, but you know,
oof.
There's lots of dogs in Puerto Rico. There's lots of dogs
running
all over the road.
I got maybe this will be a good time to. I got another guest question here.
Okay.
Pertaining to some, I think Puerto Rico stuff. Can't remember, but it's from your buddy Tej here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Bill, it's Tej. I'm just ringing in a quick question. Do you remember when we were in Puerto Rico that one year with Connor, Booby, Spud, Cole, and I think we were waiting on Chase, Andy, and Boone, and you said you'd pick them up late night at the parking lot, and I heard my phone ringing off the hook at like 3 a.m. and went to find you, but you were passed out, unable to formulate any words, so I tried to sober up with a hot shower, and I went and picked him up and got lost on the way back, but we finally made it back. Just wondering what exactly happened that night.
No idea. Not even a little bit. Don't even remember. That was the time. That was like way later. That's like a couple years ago. That was like after I'd lived in Puerto Rico for a while. Yeah, we were in some giant house in the middle of the island, and somebody had to go. Some people got some bad flights, and they had to get picked up. And Tej was the only one that came through and went and picked them up. I don't know what I was doing. No idea.
I don't know either.
Lots of medallas and probably lots of blunts, I guess. No idea, Teach. If you know, let me know, because I don't know. You must know because you were sober.
Comment on the Instagram if you knew what happened that night.
Yeah, what did happen that night? I don't know. No idea.
Yeah.
Good times.
Tej, we don't know.
Thanks for the input, Tej.
All right. Yeah, we definitely skipped ahead there. We're just going all over the place. I like to skip around a little bit. So, you've certainly lived in some skate houses. You're at the skate house here. When did you move into the skate house
In LA?
in LA? When did that kind of take form?
It definitely happened like a couple months after that Steepcrest event. Dude, I don't know the dates. I'm so bad with the dates. I have to go back through my Facebook and look to see when it was. But I remember James Kelly was moving out of Skate House in LA, and there's a room opening up. I remember I had taken the train down there from San Francisco once, and that was my first time in Los Angeles. And I had been at the Skate House, and James was moving out. I moved into his spot. It was like a transition time because it seemed like I think Louis had moved out then.
Okay.
It was still like Max Dubler was there. I think Alex Amin had just moved in. Dude, I cannot tell you the year that it was, but it probably was like 2014 or 15.
Okay.
About that time. I remember James's bike was there forever. But I lived in LA with no car for 2 years. I remember that. I'd
Skating downhill too.
I would take the bus every day because I didn't have a job either, because I think by this point I was making like $500 a month or something. Plus I was making money off royalties from I finally had a pro model. I think I was making like $300 from going or something like that. So I had just barely enough money, and rent was like $500 a month. So I remember I paid my rent with the money from Bustin, and then I lived off like $300 a month, and then I took the bus every day to go skate Tuna.
Dude, I mean, it sounds like a hustle, but that sounds pretty fucking awesome.
It was. I mean, and there's always people, living in a skate house, you really don't need a car because there's always some people willing to go. So like the days I didn't take the bus, people were driving.
Oh yeah, definitely being at the skate house too. Like you're in the zone where people are.
Yeah, and then you meet all the people. But I remember, so that was super lucky. Just finding them at the right, or going down there at the right time and be like, oh, we need somebody to live here. And be like, okay, I think I can pull it off. And at the time, like LA was the downhill capital of the world. There was you go to tune on any day, and there would be people skating there. Sometimes like 5 or 6 cars. Mm-hmm. They still had Skate Slate was still going on. Max was shooting for that, so we'd always go out and get photos. Yeah, that was good.
How long were you out there for?
I probably lived there for like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I can't remember. And then I ended up moving to Lake Tahoe for a little while.
You've been around, man.
Yeah, wait, what did I know? Oh, no. I met my girlfriend. The girlfriend at the time, she lived in Tahoe, and then she came down and moved with me.
Okay.
And then later on, we moved to Tahoe, but I was still going to... at the same time, I was going to Colombia a bunch.
Okay.
I was going to Colombia and Peru and Brazil. And I was traveling there basically because I had no money. And, I could get my sponsors to pay for, a plane ticket. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, I need to go somewhere cheap. Because once I get there, I'm not going to be able to, spend much money. So that's why I was, super excited to always go down to South America. And so, because my money lasted way longer down there.
Who were you going to Colombia with when you first...
Dude,
started doing that?
The first time I went, I just went by myself. But I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna meet everyone down there, and hopefully figure it out. And I would just get there and be like, guys, where are you guys staying at? What hotel or hostel? And they're like, we're all staying here. I'm like, okay. And then I like get a taxi and find them. And then, once you're on a trip with somebody, once you're in the same places as them, then you're in. Like,
Yeah.
Then you just find out where everyone's going that day or whatever. So I remember at first I just went down there by myself.
No kidding. You got that. You got a ton of videos from down there, but the one that sticks out to me is the driveway, Pablo Escobar's driveway.
Oh yeah, Catedral. Yeah, is the road. That's the name of the road. Yeah, it's the road that they built that goes up to where he had that prison at, that fake prison that he had. That was basically like his party spot. Anyway, that road goes up to that spot, and the only reason it's paved probably is because of him. And where Alex and me ran over my board. That was later. That's when I was like, that was on a trip. I think, dude, because I lived in Colombia for a little while. I like rented an apartment for like 3 months, and I don't know if it was then or just before that. I think it was then, and I had a couple. I remember because I brought more than one board with me because they broke that board, and then I had another one set up. Yeah. But I lived down there. So, yeah,
You really go with the flow, man. You're just like, fuck it, I'm going to move to Colombia. That's legit.
I think, me and Alex have both moved out of Skate House by then because we both lived in Skate House in LA together. And I went down to Colombia and rented a house with Juan Pablo from his mom.
Shout out Juan Pablo.
Shout out Juan Pablo.
Who is your husband?
He's my husband now, yeah.
Right. It's Will's hubby.
But Alex Amin rented another apartment down the street, and that was his time where he was like making the Valhalla videos and filming all that shit. So like, it was like every week we had a new rental car and we were filming shit.
Oh my gosh.
And he was going crazy. He was like, I remember his filming style was like as close as possible, and then he would pull the e-brake and just 180 through the hairpins, still filming, still focused on.
That's so fucked.
And like, yeah, so he would like be pulling the e-brake, sliding the turn like 2 feet behind.
With the death lens on.
With the death lens on, like, yeah, just getting it like so hard. And he couldn't drive manual. I remember, so we had to scour the whole city because in South America everyone drives stick shift. And we had to scour the whole city and finally found one rental car in the whole city that was an automatic. And it was like double the price. And we had to rent that one every time.
And it's going to get worked.
And he just got destroyed.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That era was certainly pretty wild. That's when I really started seeing the Colombia footy. Because I didn't really know about it until I kind of started seeing your stuff. Like, I'm like, what is this Catedral or whatever the hell you say?
Yeah, I don't know. I called it. Yeah, I don't think people can pronounce the name Catedral. It's cathedral. It's the cathedral because now there's the church. They replaced the prison at the top with a church, and yeah, Catedral is just cathedral in Spanish, and so you can just call it the cathedral, or it's I named it Pablo Escobar's driveway, so people would like be able to pronounce what it says.
Yeah, it sounds cooler too. It sounds way cooler.
Yeah, and that name just stuck, I guess. I remember I put that in one of the videos, and eventually everyone just called it that. I was like, all right, sweet. Same road. But Medellin is probably the craziest city in the world to be a downhill skateboarder.
I was going to ask, is that one of the top zones you've been to? Because you've traveled quite a bit.
I haven't been everywhere. I think there's people think I've been more places than I have because I haven't been like all over. Like I haven't been to Tenerife yet. I haven't been to like Africa. I haven't been to Australia yet. I haven't been to New Zealand. There's a lot of places I haven't been. But as far as the places that I have been, Medellin is definitely by far the craziest, most insane place because they're in a valley. Everything is a hill, and they just paved everything that they could. Stuff that they would never pave in other places. And the skate scene there is huge. And so people have been just finding all the spots that are crazy. They have Las Palmas, which is the highway run where you do 60 miles an hour for like 20 solid minutes.
That road, like, I haven't been to Colombia, but that road is like, if I ever go, like, I gotta go there.
Yeah, there's a lot of roads that I think, like, if you're a downhill skateboarder, you gotta ride, and like and Las Palmas, the highway there, is one of those roads. Is like, I think everyone needs to go to like Vulcan in Romania, Tiltonia in Brazil is another one, and like you should go to Medellin and skate Las Palmas because that shit is insane.
It looks insane.
Like,
There's nothing in Colombia that doesn't look insane.
yeah, it's like where we live in Asheville is pretty good, but like Asheville is like a safer version of Medellin. Like it's like we've got all the roads here to skate, and like there's so many, and there's so many good ones. And Medellin has more, and they're more crazy. Like you should go to Medellin if like you want to like prove yourself and like possibly die, because like, dude, it is super insane. The only good side about traffic in Medellin and stuff is that because it's so crazy there with bikers and there's all kinds of crazy traffic all the time, is that the people that are driving are like super on point. Like nobody's texting and driving in Medellin. Like you would just crash all the time. Like you had to be solely focused on driving because it's so crazy there. So, and the people there aren't like here where like they were like, they see a skater and like slow down. Like nobody changes what they're doing if they see a skater pass you on the road.
They're all just desensitized.
Yeah, it's just completely normal. Like, this is a normal part of the day. Is some dude passing me going like 60 miles an hour down this road, I see them and a hairpin almost hit me. They just like go about their day. So they're like, in the United States, like somebody would get on and be like, oh my God, they almost hit me or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't they got like a inline roller blade? Like they have a whole community down there too.
Yeah,
Aren't
the
they, like,
rollerblading
speed skaters.
Yeah, rollerblading is pretty big, but that's just come in the last like 5 years, really. As rollerblading started to pick up there, they do downhill a bunch, and their crew is huge too. It's almost bigger than the skaters' crew now.
Damn.
But like in Medellin, it's like there's a huge skate culture there, and like a punk rock culture, and like the people there are just gnarly. Like, dude, there's a lady there. She learned to skate when she was like 48, and she's skating Palmas.
Really?
Yeah.
She's bombing that road, the highway bomb. Holy shit! Built different.
Yeah, and she like learned to skate, I think, when she was like 47 or 48. And when I was there, she was like in her 50s, and she was skating Palmas. Like, she was not like insanely good or anything, but that's crazy.
Props.
But they're on like another level there. But like, yeah, where I was talking to one Pablo, and he was like, I don't want to skate in Medellin anymore. It's too crazy. Like, there's so many insane roads, but the chances of you getting hurt are so much higher than like in Asheville, where like you can stay in your lane, and like the drivers aren't going to be crazy, and there's not going to be a huge truck coming around every turn.
Yeah. And wild dogs and motorcycles and
and random holes everywhere on the pavement here is better. I've been there, but like I think everyone should go to Medellin and go skating. If you're a downhill skater, like you definitely have to go there.
it looks incredible.
It's definitely the best. It's probably the best place to skate in the world if you're not scared.
Yeah. A lot of slides.
Downhill skate. A lot of slides, but I mean, yeah, you can do it. I've been trying to convince. I want to go on a trip there with Liam and Cole and Tom.
Yeah.
We were talking about that in Puerto Rico when I took them there last time, or when I showed them around there last time.
Man, they haven't been there. I thought.
No, Liam's never been there. Cole's never been there, and Liam wants to go, but I don't know. I just gotta convince him, I guess, and like set up a time. But like, yeah, cause that's like. If you're that good, if you're on like the level of like Cole and Liam and like whoever else, like I remember going there with Chase and David and seeing them skate all the crazy. Like if you're really good and you want to like make the craziest video ever, like that's where you should go. Like there's nowhere else in the world you can go and you can make something that crazy. Well, because that's gonna push your limits. I feel like most of the time on roads, like you get to a point where like you're not pushing the limits.
It's all
anymore.
easy mode.
Yeah.
At some point, get random dogs, holes in the road, trucks coming up,
or just like roads that are just like almost skatable, even like with perfect scenario where there's nothing in the road
Mm-hmm.
and like navigating stuff like that.
Well, it seems like people that are on that like upper echelon level will go there and like go to that like next level where you're like, oh man, this person can skate any road. Like,
Yeah, it definitely teaches you a lot. It's definitely humbling too. And you're like, oh, I thought I was really good, but now I can't skate down this section, and all the Colombians are just going in front of me.
yeah, that man. Yeah, in my eyes, it looks like that area is top tier for the world.
Yeah, we should make a trip there. We just buy like a rental house there for a little bit and get everyone to come out.
I got to get my passport renewed, and like, that's on my bucket list. Like, Braffs.
You did, yeah. See, I've never been to Braffs.
You never been to Braffs?
Never been. I've driven by the bottom, like twice, pretty much.
Oh no!
But I've never been to Braffs, even though it's like But I feel like I know it because I've just talked to so many people that have told like every aspect about it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it too. It's on my list. I want to get there before it falls off the mountain or whatever. Kind of looks rough, but
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
this summer. Who knows?
we'll see. So what brought you to? I mean, Will's lives in Asheville now for what, 5 years or something like that. You've been here for a while.
3 years.
3 years. What kind of made you decide to move to the southeast?
I was living in before I moved here. I was living in California at the time, and I wanted to move somewhere out of California. We had just got done like doing a bunch of growing out there, and I just finished, and so I had a bunch of cash. I was like, all right, I want to move somewhere that's really cheap, like the cheapest place possible, still in the United States. And that was Puerto Rico, because like it's incredibly cheap, like rent.
And it's technically a U.S. territory.
Yeah, it's
Right?
it's basically USA without being one. Like you go to the DMV to register the car. You can't vote for president living there, but that's about it. You're
Okay.
pretty much a U.S. Like it's just like moving to another state. So, me and my girlfriend at the time were like, all right, let's move to Puerto Rico. Because that's where my money can go the longest. Because I've always been like extremely poor my entire life. I was like just barely getting by. And I was like, all right, so where can I go where my money will last the longest? That's why I lived in Colombia for a while too, because my money could go longer. But so we were on the way to, I was going to ship my car that I had at the time to Puerto Rico. So we were driving to Jacksonville, Florida. And on the way there, like halfway through, that hurricane hit, Hurricane Maria. That devastated the island and like knocked it out. And we'd already been there and like found a house that we were gonna rent, and like basically we're ready to go. And on the drive from Cali to Florida, like in the middle of the week, the hurricane hit, and like I didn't hear from anyone for a couple days. And then I realized that there was no power, no water, and so.
No.
Yeah, there was no power, no water. The roads were destroyed. There wasn't getting some places. It was really bad, and there was no flights going in. And we're like, oh fuck, what do we do? And dude, I don't know who I talked to. Come to think of it now, who was it that said? Anyway, somebody was like, "Yo, you should come to Asheville."
Mm-hmm.
And there's an opening at the skate house there.
Had you been around
never-
NC since that first, like in 2008 or whatever?
No, I hadn't been to North Carolina since 2000, I believe, 10 probably.
Oh my god!
So it wasn't
Just
that
massive
long. It was
hiatus.
like 6 years or something like that. But I had known that I started seeing some videos from there, and you guys were making a bunch of stuff. So I'd known that like you guys had found some more roads, and it was super cool. And there's like the Skatesgiving videos and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, I don't remember who I talked to, but somehow I found out that there was like David was trying to go to Hawaii or something, and his room was available. And I was like, all right, fuck. Well, we need to go somewhere until Puerto Rico recovers and like the power comes back on our house and like the water comes back on. and we didn't know how long it was going to be. It ended up being like 6 months for water, 6 months for power, and like 8 months for water.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like something like
it's gonna
that.
be a while.
Something crazy. And even then, like I remember when we got there, even then it was just going out all the time. But went to Asheville.
You moved into the pastry palace.
Yeah, moved into the pastry palace. That was just a wreck. With my girlfriend at the time, with like her dog. And like, dude, it was so gross. And like, I remember she hated it. And it was just so bad. And I had like my car and oh my god, I like didn't know what to do, and I started every month. I was like, all right, we're gonna move there this month, and every month it was just like, can't move there yet, and ended up like I remember I bought that Prius and I started doing Uber for a while because like I got to just start doing something. Like I'm just bleeding money here.
Yeah,
like not doing anything. But yeah, and then moved to the Pastry Palace, and then finally moved to Puerto Rico, and then moved there for like 2 years, hang out there. But like in Puerto Rico, there's not like where I live. There's like I had some friends, but like really I only have like 2 or 3 really good friends in Puerto Rico and I never really could hang out with them. So it was really just me by myself. Like it was cool because I was living by the beach and surfing every day, so I could like just drive and go surfing.
How close were there roads nearby?
And yeah, and okay, so like there's like roads to skate, but like nothing world class. Like the world class roads in Puerto Rico were like 2 hours from my house. So like to get there, it was like a full mission, and we only had one car. So if I went skating, my girlfriend didn't have a car to do anything that day, and like no one on the island really wanted to go skate that shit except for like maybe Brian. And Brian was like 14. It didn't happen. Like I was gonna skate with Brian at like 14, and I'm like, dude, I'm like 30 or something like
Brian,
that.
what
like
are you doing?
And it was like, but he was cool. So I never really could go skating the roads that I wanted to in Puerto Rico because I was so far. And there was like, it's really important to have like a good, solid community. And dude, I was there for 2 years. Not one person came and visited me. I literally had like a 4-bedroom house on the beach, like epic. But this is at the time where skateboarding had went off a cliff. Like downhill skating was dead.
Yeah.
Like this was the darkest moments for downhill. Like at the time. And I remember I had hurt myself the last time I was in Colombia. I like fucked up my knee. I didn't skate for 2 years. I didn't.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, I did. I fucked up my knee, and I didn't go to the doctor because obviously I'm poor. I don't have insurance or anything. I remember I flew back. That's why I had to leave Colombia, because I fucked my shit up and I couldn't skate. I had to leave there, and I went back and I moved to Lake Tahoe, and then I found somebody that needed some help with a farm. Went there. I didn't skate for 1 year at all. Didn't even stand on a board, and then for the next year, I remember I just cruised around and didn't like really skate. And like I guess working on the farm every day and like not skating, eventually my knee like got back to 100% where like I don't even remember which one it was anymore. But I didn't skate for 2 years. Then went to Puerto Rico, and it was dead. Nothing was going on. It was just like it really looked like the end of downhill skateboarding. Like I remember before
It was
I
like
moved there.
you were thinking that you were like, this might be it.
Yeah, because I lost all the money I was making from skateboarding, because like right up until I fucked my shit up in Colombia, like I started to make enough money where I could like live comfortably, like not good, like $20,000 a year or some shit, but just from skating, which is nice.
I mean, yeah, that's legit. Not a lot of people had opportunities like that, but that kind of dried up.
Yeah, so whenever skateboarding took the big nosedive, like my sponsors called me. I remember that it was all within like, it was so crazy because it was all within like a month. Like Bustin called me and they're like, yeah, we don't have enough money to support you anymore. I remember being like, all right, well, can you still do like $300 a month? Like the first thing you guys ever paid me, they're like, yeah, we can pay you $300 a month still. So I got that. And then like a week or two later, Going hit me up, and Going was paying me too. And they're like, "Yeah, okay." It's like, we're not gonna be able to pay you anymore. Like, this is all. And I had like a pro model from them for the trucks.
Yeah, because you had pro model Bustin, pro model Gull Wings too.
Yeah.
You had like the Rasta ones.
Yeah, that was good. Those trucks are awesome. But yeah, they both hit me up within like a month, and I convinced both of them to not cut me off completely. I was like, just give me like $100. Just keep me on.
Just give me something.
Just keep me on here, because I don't want it to end. And so they did. And but I was making like not enough money to survive, so I had to do something. But anyway, so by the time I got to Puerto Rico, after all that, skateboarding was dead. There was no money left, and like I didn't think, like living there, I thought I was just going to like fade off into the distance and like just live in Puerto Rico and go surfing and go skating with my friends. And like the community there, it is cool, but it was dying too.
Yeah.
So like and the community in Puerto Rico is not as big as like other places. So like it was like really low. So like there was no events, there was nobody really to go skating with, there was no excitement.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, like me and my girlfriend that moved there broke up, and I was like just living in Puerto Rico by myself, not doing anything. No one came to visit, and I was like, dude, I really liked Asheville. Asheville seemed like the up and coming spot when I was there. Like I should try to go back there. And my parents at the time lived in Charlotte, randomly, and so. And I had left my my car that I bought in Nashville, that Prius. I left that in Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back to. I left my house in Puerto Rico, turned it into an Airbnb. And so I just go to Asheville for a little while, and then go back to my house in Puerto Rico and go to Asheville for a little while. But eventually, I just ended up staying in Asheville. Because I realized like that was like from like some of the most important things in life is like community. Like
Absolutely.
if you don't have like a solid, like some people don't need friends, some people don't need some things, but like dude, having like a solid community sometimes is more important than having money, and more important than having like a bunch of possessions or like I don't know.
Totally.
Like because you can do so many things with if you have a lot of friends, and like in Asheville.
Especially friends that are all into the same things. Like you're on the same page.
Because I don't know, I love skateboarding. I feel like there's people that are like down for life, and then there's people that are just in it because it's fun. And like I feel like for the most part, I'm probably down for life and like going to skate until I can't anymore. And if I can't skate anymore, I'll probably like pick up a luge.
Yeah.
I just love that so much. I don't know what it is. So I found in Asheville, like people that were like the energy was there. The people were like still super psyched about finding hills, about like filming different stuff, and like people were going out and skating every day, as opposed to like Los Angeles and like where I had left, where it was like drying up. And even though the entire industry seemed to be dying, like in Asheville, it seemed like there was like the last stronghold of downhill skateboarding. Like the last place in the United States where like people were still going and skating every day. You could just hop in a car and go with people. And like that's what called my attention here.
Yeah, man. Well, we're glad you came here because you you basically got that skate house after Pastry Palace. Like there was nothing after that, and then you kind of came through and
Skate House died, and then we had to find something.
Mm-hmm. And that's I guess when you came back, and I feel like when you came back, that's kind of when the scene really started popping off. Like you're kind of like a ringleader of the scene of Asheville. You've been
like
putting
to
on
throw
tons
events.
of events. Yeah, like you did an event once a month last year.
For a while, we were doing stuff like all the time. I realized I was doing too many events because like I started to see like the attendance level go down. I was like, all right, because I remember the first one I did, there was so many people. It was like, we haven't done a slide jam in forever, and there's so many people. And then I started throwing more and more, and then to the point where it was like, all right, I think we maxed out.
Well,
and now I think it's once a year is better. But I love throwing events. I don't know what it is. I just love doing it because like it's just easy for me.
I mean, there's so much terrain here, and like, I don't know, you kind of just like rally the scene and get the community, bringing everyone together, and that's, you know, like going back to the community thing. It's really important.
Yeah, I love harboring the community, and really, all it takes is one person with a U-Haul and a Facebook post to really get an event going, and like. There's so many people here that, like, for sure, even if you don't make the money back, you're going to make, like, almost all of it that you need. Or, like, fuck it, sometimes I just pay for events and don't even care. But it's, like, for me, like, the most fun day I can think of is, like, a skateboard event.
Oh, yeah. You know?
That's it.
No doubt. And it's really cool when it's, like, your local community too. Like we have enough people here. If you put an event on, there's gonna be like 40 or 50 people there.
Yeah,
not including visitors.
Yeah, I know. That's the crazy part. But then sometimes like you could throw an event here, and there'll be 40 people, but then there'll be like another 4 cars that don't even come to the event that go to skate something else because they've been playing that for a while. So that's crazy. It's crazy to see. All the people move here too, just after me.
Yeah, because you were one of the first. I mean, you've been all over the place. You know, Florida, Alaska. You've been in Vancouver, California, but like you were the first, one of the first maybe. Like you didn't really see California people moving here.
No, the first person that came kind of from the West Coast.
Yeah, like
because still, even people that come here, a lot of people are from the East Coast.
Yep,
a lot of people that are moving here. Because California, and even then, dude, I feel like a lot of the people in California don't know how good it is here. Like I remember talking to Max Caps a while back, and he was like, "Yeah, I knew they had roads, but I didn't know they had long roads." Or like,
we got tons of them. We just don't go to them all the time.
No, like... Nobody goes to them because there's way better, shorter ones that are close, I guess. But
I'm trying to do a dozen slides in a mile.
Yeah,
that's what everyone goes to.
Yeah, I don't think, dude. It's just Asheville's just not on the radar for people. I remember going on Euro Tour, and I think it was like right when I just moved to Asheville. And I was like, yeah. Like we live here. Have you ever heard of it? Most people either have never heard of it, or like had just heard about it from like one video or something, like didn't understand. And I feel like it's even still like that to this day. Like people have no idea the options that you have here. But like for me, it's probably the best place. It's easily the best place in the United States to go skate and to live if you're a downhill skateboarder, and possibly in the world. I don't know anywhere else in the world where you have this many downhill skaters living in such close proximity.
Active
downhill
skaters.
Active downhill skaters.
Like
yeah, that's important.
Out daily.
Going skating every single day when the conditions permit.
Yeah. It's, we get winters here, but they're pretty mild. But
yeah.
If you're motivated, you can get out.
But it seems crazy that there still hasn't been that many people come. Like we had the first like Australians come last summer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then we had, like Max Caps came, a bunch. Some other people came from California, a bunch. But like still, there's not been like that many. There's like a large group of people that are still left to discover the Appalachian Mountains. Pretty crazy.
I think coming here is definitely something you gotta see for yourself, because the videos look good, but still it's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
They don't do it justice.
It's all the there's so much green vegetation, like all the roads kind of look like
they look the same.
They look
not
the same.
Cool.
Yeah, when in reality
like
it's like
Sonora, where you got epic mountains in the background. It was like, I need to go there.
Yeah, it looks cool just looking at it.
Yeah.
So, no, you were you moving here definitely like is, I would say, like this is what you do when you move to a new scene, like contribute and like stoke everyone out. And I think you've done a great job of doing that. And yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you've done in the NC scene. So
I think I was just there at the right time to like pick everything back up, and like, because like as soon as I got here, started stuff in skateboarding started going again, events started happening again, and like it was just the right time, right place. But also I have that drive of like, nobody's making an event, like I'm making an event. Like,
yeah,
it needs to happen.
Well, I mean, the scene needs someone like that, you know. So
You gotta have somebody, yeah, and that's why I love making events. But dude, you know what I love more than making my own event is going to an event somebody else did.
yeah, yeah.
Then
And
I don't
not having to worry.
Then I don't have to do anything. I just go skate, get to race. You know.
What's gonna be the first outlaw of this season?
2023. I'm gonna do Grapevine.
Okay, I didn't go to the one last year.
You didn't go to the one last
No, I don't
You've
know
been
why
to
I didn't.
Grapevine though, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
It's a sick
road's
road.
dope. We did it last time, and I remember for the first 3 hours there wasn't a car that came up.
Oh, amazing.
We didn't see one car in 3 hours, and then finally, like I think 2 cars came the whole time, 3 cars. But I think I'm gonna do Grapevine, Outlaw probably when it just gets warm enough. Do that like free ride, and then I want to do another. Do I want to do a Josh Newman Memorial Slide Jam and like auction off boards, and then donate that to the Josh Newman Foundation. But you know, what I was thinking too would be dope is like, don't do the race at Chimney anymore, but have a U-Haul and go race Paradise, and get everyone to park at Chimney, right? And then we load everyone up in the U-Haul, and then close the door, and then somebody goes in front, opens the gate at Paradise, the U-Haul drives in, and then we just run the race at Paradise. Probably take like an hour.
We should do that. We haven't done that in like
Yeah, it's
3 or
been a
4
while.
years.
I remember I did a race at Paradise, but that was where we all could drive it. But so I think Grapevine did the Joshua Memorial Slide Jam, and then Paradise race the same day, because like Chimney is not that cool to race.
Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming.
Paradise is amazing to race.
Amazing.
It's like an epic. There's plenty of room for passing and all that stuff. So that's gonna be the first 2 that I'm thinking about doing. I don't have dates yet, but that should be it.
Hell yeah. I think that would be cool to do the Mount Doom one again, but maybe in like a good time of the year when it's not like winter time.
Oh my god, in the snow.
That was crazy.
I almost drove up there yesterday when we tried to go to Jitterbug and snowboard there. And then there's that road that you can go up to Mount Doom that's like on the way to Jitterbug. The road that basically leads up it from the other side.
Yeah.
But I realized it was 35 miles from Jitterbug to get up to the top, because I was just going to go ride around in the snow. But yeah, Mount Doom race, you know, I think maybe better than Mount Doom would be like Shire top to bottom.
Oh yeah, get the endurance outlaws going.
Yeah, Shire top to bottom, but then like nobody in Asheville wants to race. That's the problem here
that's
too.
the problem too. Like I love racing too, and like I'm like
Yeah,
kinda
so do
like,
I. But like 97% of the people in Asheville don't want to race, and there's like the 3% of us who do want to race.
Yeah.
And so you throw a race here and no one wants to come, but you throw a free ride and then there's like everyone's coming.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. That's what the difference is here with Asheville too, with the other places. Like Puerto Rico loves to race. Like places like I remember when living in California, like a lot of people in California love to race. Brazil loves to race. Colombia loves to race. Like I don't know that much about places in Europe, but they probably love to race. Australia loves to race.
Oh yeah.
Like Asheville, no one wants to race.
It's like it's so crazy. There's like this phenomenon that happens that like this isn't a good place to live if you like to race for some reason.
Yeah.
Because you stop pushing in hard. You start free riding, most people, and like you just like kind of just fade into the scene, you know?
Just fade right into being like, let's just go to Elk.
Yeah.
No,
You know?
but you know, oh God, what was I gonna say? You know what I think is that countries or cities with shitty hills breed good racers,
That is another phenomenon.
and
Yeah.
places with like insane hills breed free riders.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. Like if you go to a place like for example, like Brazil and Australia, like they do have hills. Don't get me wrong, they exist, but they're not like too many crazy world class runs.
Yeah.
But they have sick racers because I think the only way to like really progress yourself at a certain point is like you have to race.
Yeah. No doubt.
Like places with shitty hills breeds good racers.
Well, I mean, I come from, the Midwest, and you come from Florida, so you were seeking out places with hills.
Oh yes.
And it's like, if you want to go to a spot with hills, you probably got to go to a race. So then you're in the race scene, You're just, like, for me, it's like, I want to go to a bigger hill. Well, an event has that.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, that
you know?
does make sense. Yeah, you gotta go to a bigger hill, so okay, it's just a race.
And also, like,
Did you go to the King of Claremont race?
I did not know.
You didn't go to it?
Nope.
Dude, I remember the last one they had, when they had to change it to King of Kona because they got the event permit pulled. I remember it being sold out. It was like 250 riders. It was sold out like 3 or 4 months in advance. And what was more crazy than that is the women's bracket was filled 2 months before the race was done. There's a 32 women's bracket full.
Dude,
2 months out.
You don't see that often.
Before, I've never seen that ever again anywhere. I just was in the World Roller Games or whatever in Argentina, and they had everyone. They didn't have a full 32 women bracket, I don't think.
And that's like the world.
And that was like people really wanting to go. I remember, the King of Claremont race that Cam was throwing. Before the plug got pulled, they had a full women's bracket. I remember looking at it online and being like, "This is insane."
That's a huge 250, like over 200 people there.
There was
Was
250
supposed to?
registered racers ready to go in a race in Florida. A full, I think appealed to a lot of people is on the East Coast, one, and the hill probably wasn't that crazy
It was friendly.
sounding to a lot of people, so they were like, I could do this, and that's why everyone registered. But still, to this day, I've never seen a 32 women's bracket full since that. And the crazy thing is, it didn't even happen.
Damn.
It was in Florida.
Hey man, those more friendly hills though, like they're like you said, they're definitely more appealing to someone that's not like I go on Euro tour. Like it's just someone that wants to go to an event,
Yeah.
So maybe we need to do some friendly stuff mixed in or something.
More friendly races. Yeah, I think the more friendly, the better. 'Cause
Oh,
then you
yeah.
don't have to be scared. Like, dude, Vulcan. Oh my god, so scary. But I guess not really. Not as scary as Teutonia, I guess. Not as scary as like some races.
Couple heavy roads you're laying out there.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know.
Well, I think this is a good time I got another guest question.
Okay.
Here. So this one's from Jack Trainer.
Oh god. All right.
Hi, Jack Trainer here, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm calling in with a question for Will. In 2016, Skatehouse Media named you Gremlin of the Year. If you had to pick a skateboarder from 2022, who would you name as the 2022 Gremlin of the Year? Also, question for Dan. What was the most embarrassing part of your childhood? What's your most embarrassing memory?
Wow.
Thanks.
Amazing. I don't know what.
Wow.
I don't know what he's referring to though. Gremlin of the Year. Maybe it was in maybe it was on the website or something. I don't know. I didn't even remember that. But if I did name somebody Gremlin
Gremlin of the Year for 2022.
Gremlin of the Year for 2022. I don't know. So if I had to pick somebody from like I guess Asheville in here, probably be Jesse.
Fabrizio?
Yeah, Jesse Fabrizio's Gremlin of the Year for sure.
Okay.
That's that's the best they can do with that.
What do you ask me? Most embarrassing. What kind of question is that, Jack? My whole childhood was embarrassing, the whole thing. But I can't really remember my childhood that well. But I do remember. I don't know. Maybe this is more embarrassing for my parents, but I spit in my teacher's face in kindergarten.
Ooh, wow.
That's kind of embarrassing. Kind of badass too, I guess. But I know I've had a lot more embarrassing things. I can't remember. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like I was that embarrassed as a child.
Yeah, you only start getting embarrassed once you get in like your teenage years.
Yeah.
Then you start getting the guilt feeling. I don't think guilt exists until like you're 10 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as guilt.
Was not guilty. I was a little hellion when I was young. I didn't give a shit. But
I can't believe you recorded those questions and then put them on there. That's high tech.
yeah, man, super high tech out here.
Crazy.
So I guess let's I've been asking people just a few questions at the end, towards the end.
Okay.
Some things. May I already heard. So I like to ask, what do you prefer, round lip or square lip wheels?
Clear wheels. Doesn't matter if they're round or squared.
Okay. I'll accept that.
As long as they leave thin lines, we're good to go.
I accept that offer. Open roads or the gated residential?
Open roads because they're usually faster. Yeah.
I'll accept that too.
Yeah.
If you had to go out skating all day with your all-star lineup of friends, who you taking? Where you going?
Oh my God. I don't know.
It can be anywhere in the world. It can be anyone.
Honestly, I'd rather just like show all my friends from back in the day the roads that we have here. Like, I know, like, dude, I'd like to like go skating here with Byron, or like, I really want to skate here with Kevin, but he's already been here, and I remember talking to him. Dude, you know what I'm really trying to? I really want to, because James Kelly's never been here.
He hasn't.
I've been messaging him like every couple months and be like, you got to come to Asheville. Like, I'll buy your ticket. Like, come stay at my house and come show you all the roads. Like, really, if I could do like all-star, like I think like getting James, getting James and like Louie and like Byron to come out and then going on like a skate mission with them all day.
That would be cool.
That would be like my ideal thing.
Hell yeah, I like that.
But I think I'm gonna try. Like, dude, every time I'm trying to convince James to come out, he's like a little bit more. Like, he was supposed to come this summer and then he didn't. But he's like worried. Every time I talk to him, he's like worried because he hasn't skated in so long that he's just gonna like be really terrible and like he's gonna be super tired. And I'm like, no,
dude. He'll be fine, dude. He's an American dream.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. Like, we'll take you to the easy roads, and then we'll like take you to like some harder ones that are fine. Like, we can go to waterfalls every day.
And go straight to Balba.
Like, you can bring your wife. Like, we have roads that she can skate. Like, we
got variety. We don't gotta go to kill yourself the first run.
And like, I try to explain to James here, like, dude, no one's a racy boy here. No one's gonna try to like tuck past you.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's just concerned about like doing their next slide into the turn. Like, they don't care.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, go ahead.
Everyone's
gonna be like, holy shit, that's James Kelly.
I mean, people will be like that, but no one's gonna be trying to like compete with you, or like it's just like a different. I'm trying to explain to him too, like, dude, it's been so long now. It's like, you don't have to be the best. Like, don't worry about being like embarrassed because you aren't on the same level as you were before. Like, you can just, skate and have fun. Like, you don't have to. But yeah, I'm.
Yeah, you can just come here to have fun. You don't have to. You don't got to prove yourself.
So I think, dude, hopefully this summer I can convince him to come, at least for a week, maybe just the weekend, and come skate. So that's like the ultimate goal for this year is to convince James Kelly to come to North Carolina because he's never been.
See you this summer, James.
James, you will never listen to this because you're too busy in medical school.
But if you do, I challenge you to a race down Elk.
Oh. He'll probably win.
Yeah, I probably would.
All right.
Well, yeah, man.
Well, cool. Thanks for having me. If you, I also have a podcast.
Oh
too.
yeah. We gotta touch base on that. Will's got his own podcast too. What's it called?
It's called Double PENDY podcast, and we're going to. My goal is just to interview random people that have been to events from all over the world, or like, dude, I really don't have like a set criteria, but like I just want to talk about like the crazy events that have happened in different parts of the world, so people can get an idea of what it's like that haven't been. And I really want to do too is like do a podcast at a race. Like
yeah,
if we go,
I want to see that.
like around the fire, or like that might be too crazy, but like get like 6 or 7 people at the race, talk shit about what's going on that day, who qualified well, who didn't, like what they think is going to happen for the next day. I really want to do stuff like that, but it's in the off season right now, so hopefully in the future we'll be doing more stuff with that. But I got to get a better setup, like yourself.
This is all new. This is the first recording with this setup. So you're the test.
Super
subject.
professional. I'm stoked. Thanks for having me,
Dude, thank you, Will, for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
all right. And don't forget, everyone, that flossing is super important to brushing your teeth, and really helps with all the cavities.
Going to the dentist on Thursday. I'm scared.
I need to make an appointment. Last time I went to the dentist was in Colombia. It was like $15.
Fuck. Sign me up, dude.
All right. Cheers, y'all.
All right. Thanks for listening. Over and out.
Oh my God, I got pee so bad.
Dude, we went through that all the way without stopping.
What do you mean stopping? Usually you stop?
Usually, yeah.